Once again, this is the Foster My Stories podcast, the Achievement Podcast, and today we're recognizing the author of the Faces of Foster Care anthology series. Before we get into the dynamics of her anthology series, once again, Ms. Kay is a veteran. Author, she's a leader, she's a minister, and I'm wanting her to basically tell her testimony. And as y'all have been following me on these lives, stuff tends to do the most as far as the technology. So I'm going to find another way to see can I connect to her. As a matter of fact, we could do this thing through Facebook Live. Let me hop off this thing right here, Miss K. I'm going to reach out to you via Facebook Live. We're gonna get the ball
Okay.
rolling.
All right.
No
There we
worries.
go. All right.
So thank you for being my guest. Thank you for your patience with technology because it's iffy. But once again, we're here on the Foster My Stories podcast. And Miss Kay, before we get into the dynamics of what you do, can you kind of give us like a summary of your background, like your upbringing, as it relates to the foster adoption, orphan, marginalized, or really in your testimony?
Okay, very good. Yes. Good morning,
Morning.
everyone that's listening to us this morning, and for those who listen to even the replay. I just want to start out by sharing with you all that I am a follower of Christ, and I love it when the Lord blesses me with opportunities like this to be able to share my story because it's a part of my healing. And for those who choose to join us on this podcast. I was born in the early 60s, and my mom had made a decision that she was not going to parent me. And so when she found out that she was expecting a baby, she had advice from her older siblings, and they helped her to make the decision of just going to what they called a mother's home. I believe that's what they may have called it, but it was really like sliding that the mother out of sight so that no one would even know, that she was expecting a baby, because in the early 60s, that was an embarrassment to get pregnant and not be married, which is definitely not the way it is here in 2023. But the way that they wanted to make sure that she was silently goes and to this place, has the baby, and then she comes back to her community and no one even knows. They're not even probably wondering where she's at all of this time. She just comes back, bounces back, and she's back in the community. And my mother was actually going to a university. She had been blessed with a scholarship and popped right on back into the community and continued to it. So here it is that I'm a newborn being placed immediately into the foster care system. And that was really, even when I say that it's difficult to fathom that. And I say that because I have I wanted all three of my children, born baby over to the state, and then giving them that responsibility to place this child in a home that could or could not be beneficial for the baby, for the child. So that's really how life began for me. And like I said, it's difficult to even say that even out loud, but it's my truth. It's what I experienced, and I even have the documents to prove it. So it's just interesting, what the decisions that adults make, and then we have to live with those decisions. So again, I'm just happy to be here on this podcast, and
Yes. Yes, Miss Kay, I appreciate you sharing that testimony. And I'm grateful too, as well, to get insight to the different variations of how individuals have gone through foster care. For you, you said it was in the 60s. And I know, like you said, times has changed, unfortunately. Um, Of course, during that time, it was looked upon more so as a shame, but today it's pretty much the norm. And so to know that foster care has really been around for a while, for years, but I commend the fact that you're thriving and really trying to progress others circumstances and scenarios. We're going to get more into the fact that you're a foster adoptive mom, because I think that's phenomenal as well. Even though you came from what you came from, Miss Kay, in your upbringing, aside from what you went through about having to go through the system, well, or better yet, how was the system like for your upcoming? What are some things that you've seen that you see different now as time has changed?
Well, this is something that's going to be put in the book too. The fact that I did not have case managers come out and visit with me and to get a feel of how I was doing, even mentally or physically, or were there issues that I needed to talk about, um, like even referrals to even go to counseling. None of that was available to me, and if it was, then the foster families did not make it where it was imperative that I receive those services.
Yes.
So I just thought that was interesting because they placed the children in homes in the early 60s, 70s, and I'm sure even before that, like in the 50s, the 40s, because foster care has been going on for even biblically.
Yes.
But children, their needs were not being met. It's like they were just, it's like going to the grocery store and you buy all your produce and you bring it home and you put it in the refrigerator. It's almost like you're just there. You're not nurtured. That's what I experienced. I wasn't nurtured. I wasn't, didn't receive affirmation from the families that I lived with. I remember even being placed in a baby bed and left there all day. They would take the bed and they would roll it over to a window. And so that's not a good thing for children. They need to have that interaction with the family that they live with.
Yes. Yes. And Miss Kay, that is so true. And listeners, you'll be surprised that like even doesn't matter really the age, of the youth. A lot of times we do remember those key things, like Miss Kay just said about her. She remembers being put in really a crib and just left there. How old were you, Miss Kay?
I want to say about 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years old. Yes, and I just remember looking out that window because that's really all I had was, if it weren't for looking outside, I don't even know what I would have looked at. But that also helps me to understand why I'm an outdoor person. I could probably live outside because, that's all I saw was just trees and grass and leaves and the sunshine and watching the wind blow the leaves. So it kind of helps me to understand who I am and why I am the way I am, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, it really does. It really does. Listeners, definitely, I can imagine that if you take the time, a moment or so, to kind of ponder, if and just stop and think about things in your childhood, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna remember those key moments, just like Miss Kay said. For me, I do remember being in a foster placement, where myself and another young girl around my age or whatnot, we was kind of there at the house all day long. And you're right, you remember the good homes, and you remember the not so good homes, and each the experiences behind those. Miss Kay, so how long were you award of the state?
Until I graduated from high school.
Okay. Was that 18 for you?
Yes.
Oh,
18.
18. What was your next steps? Did you like when you got out of high school, did you have like an idea of okay, I want to go to college, or I see this stuff happening, I want to change it, or did that come later in life for you? And then take us on your journey from high
Yeah,
school
that
and
I would say from high school, I was dating my son's dad, um, my two sons, their father, and then we decided to get married. Which guess what? I was not even prepared to be a wife.
yeah,
I mean, I was still trying to figure out who I am and what I'm doing.
yeah,
And so then with him and I, we both decided that we would join the military, and we thought that we would be able to be together,
yeah,
and that didn't happen. They sent him to, I think it was Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then they sent me to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and they
mm,
said there was a reason behind all of that because they didn't want for my husband to see me have to drop and do 20 push-ups. So
mm,
they psychologically, that's why they like to separate husbands and wives. I don't think they do that anymore, but that's what happened at that time.
wow,
Um, I did try going to college,
yeah,
but my brain was just not
yes,
there. I didn't feel like I was focused enough,
mm-hmm,
and when you're on a journey and you're doing the journey alone, you
yeah,
don't know what direction to go. And
yes,
so, for those of us who do not follow Christ, I'm going to recommend that you give him a try because he says that when we acknowledge him in all of our ways, that
mm-hmm,
he will direct our path. And that's what I needed at that young age. I
mm-hmm,
needed to know that Christ was going to guide me.
mm-hmm,
I grew up not knowing who Christ was
mm-hmm,
because none of the families that I lived with ever introduced me to him.
yes,
So here it is. I'm just out there floating. It's almost like the wind that grabs a hold of the sail, and you're in the boat, but you have no idea where you're going.
yes,
So
and
that's a part of my journey right there is just not knowing where to go. And
yes,
so college didn't work. The military did, and now I'm an Army veteran, and that even benefited me even now because even though I didn't know what I was doing at that time, the Lord still worked it out to where here it is. I'm getting ready to be 62 years old in about 2 weeks,
yes,
and of course the VA gives me a pension
happy
that
early
hell,
birthday, happy early
who would have
birthday,
ever known?
yes, yes. Happy early birthday to you, Miss K. This is Miss K's birthday month. I know she's gonna be double celebrating. She's gonna tell you why real soon, but yeah, this is her birthday month, and we're gonna be celebrating with her. Miss K, thank you for being so transparent, really about just your journey and coming from high school and really the challenges there. And I want to speak on that for a moment. So, listeners, a lot of times when youth are coming out of the foster care system, a lot of times the age to leave out is 18. A lot of people feel they are ready to leave out, emancipate out. 18 tends to be the age to leave or go. Um, and like Miss K pointed out, the truth of the matter is, unless you have a good support system, really, or any mentors or anybody kind of walking alongside you, and then I can relate with your testimony of not really having homes. Well, I had homes that went to church and different stuff, but later in life I came to the truth of, okay, that's wrong, that's right, this is the way it's supposed to be, because a lot of times you can be involved and learn it wrong. But um I commend your maturity of knowing at a young age, well, reflecting back on that young age of that's what I needed. And that's why I came to as well, realizing I needed some structure. But when you're in those situations, you really don't know. You may get caught up with the wrong crowd, the wrong people, just survival mode. Um, for the military, Miss K, how was that? Did you find a sense of, okay, you went through the military, and yes, I can imagine that that was hard, like really doing everything alone. But coming out of that, did you then have like a sense of, you know what, this is where I want my life to go. This is the direction I want to go.
Um, I really feel like I did that out of necessity.
Yeah.
Like uh, I knew that the military was going to make sure that I had um, a bed to sleep in, food to eat,
Yes.
shower, make sure my clothes are clean.
Yes.
And even though it was not family oriented, it still worked, or I just made it work, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. So um, I was only in for 2 years, and so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
It's okay.
I didn't know at that time that I could have literally made it a lifelong journey, and I could have probably retired when I was, in my early 30s. So
Okay.
it was like a band-aid that I used at that time just to make sure that I had what I needed.
Yes. Yes. And Miss K, what because you have a wealth of knowledge and really wisdom, what words of wisdom or what advice would you give at this pinpoint right here to youth that's currently on the verge of emancipating out of the system? What advice would you like to give them right now in their current situation?
Well, I would like for them to know that this is it's not a mistake, that they went through what they went through,
Mm-hmm.
and to not blame God,
Yes.
to not point your fingers at Him and say, this is your fault,
Mm-hmm.
because we all go through what we go through. I would say primarily to help others,
Mm-hmm.
because now that I've went through the foster care system, became an adult, the Lord has shown me how I can actually minister to others or to comfort others, and to honestly be able to say, I understand, because a lot of times people will open up their mouth and say that they understand when they've never ever been
Yes.
through what you and I have been through.
Yes.
So um, I would tell them also just to continue to put one foot in front of the other,
Mm-hmm.
build your relationship, a true relationship with the Lord,
Yes.
because He is your creator, and He knows the plans that He has for you, and He only wants good things for you. Do your best to connect with people, who are going to help lift you up. Like if you're lacking information about something, that no question is a silly question. Come into connection with people like that who just want to walk with you, during your journey, even as a young adult.
Yes. Yes, Miss K, and I agree with that 1,000%. Listeners, what Miss K is definitely referring to is really finding a dynamic support system, a positive support system. In foster care, a lot of times they're doing it more now. Um, when I was coming out of the system as well, I felt like it should have been like a stronger effort. But I do remember one guy, Mr. Matthew, who was like a aging out counselor. He was there, to kind of help us prepare for the transition of aging out. But I believe, Miss K, you can kind of, you may agree on this that we can take 2, 3, 500 classes, but nothing really prepares you until you actually in those situations. And it can be hard and difficult, but know that listeners, there is support, whether you are local here to South Carolina, like I am, whether you're in Miss K state. Miss K, can you tell the listeners where you are?
I'm in two states, Missouri and Florida.
Ah, nice. Yes. Yes. Any resources local to both of those areas that you can think of that can help those youth that's in those areas? I know here we have of course the social services, but we have something called we have a home called Epworth Children's Home. It's a local youth home or whatnot that's been around for years. And then we have the Bear Foundation. do you have the Bear Foundation there, Miss Kay, or other facilities?
I haven't seen that here. I
Okay.
sure haven't.
Well, that sounds like once again, Miss K. That's a need in different areas, and so, but Miss K is doing phenomenal. She's answering a need that went through. I'm pretty sure she's went through, and countless other youth continue to go through when they're going through the foster care system. So nobody, it doesn't matter if you're age 5 or 16 or about to be emancipated out at 18, college bound. A big issue that plagues a lot of individuals, youth, kids, teens, is the fact that when they're being removed, whether to go stay temporarily in a respite care home provider, that's a short stop before they're placed long term, um, or part term in a home, or whatever their next journey is. A lot of times when they're on that route to be transferred, they're just giving trash bags, to just like throwing trash bags, here's your stuff. And I know from my experience, I've been in homes where a lot of my clothes, all my clothes came from thrift shops, whereas then the foster parent and foster sister, they always got their hair and nails done at the mall, always got the latest clothes, but myself and the other kids would get hand-me-downs. Now, once again, there's nothing wrong with hand-me-downs if they fit, if they're age appropriate. But a lot of times that's not the case for youth. And if that's not the case, as far as hand-me-downs, a lot of the kids are just given what they have from other placements they may have outgrown, and or they have just the clothes on their back. Whatever the case, they are always given. We are always given, or we're given, just trash bags, as if we're just being tossed with the unwanted. But Miss K has a phenomenal service. I am about to show you her website on my end, but I'm gonna let her talk you through um, the dynamics of Kay's carry ons. Miss K, could you tell us how Kay's carry ons got started? Because I know that's the heart of what kids go through.
Yes, it definitely is. And the way you described it as, handing
Mm.
a bag, um, and most of the times it was black.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yes,
Black trash
and
bag.
so that's right. So our personal items are actually placed on the inside of those bags,
Mm-hmm.
and I would imagine that there have been children that have witnessed, their own items being placed in
Yes.
those bags,
Yes.
and then they associate that bag with their own life,
Yes.
and there's something goes down. They have problems in school. They want to act out, and the reason all that's going on is because they've been removed from their family of origin,
Yes.
their dad, their mom, their grandmother, whoever was raising them before they entered into care. So they're experiencing that, which is loss, and then they go through depression.
Yes.
And there's just, unfortunately, just an array of emotions that they're experiencing.
Yes.
And the Lord had actually blessed me to go to a women's veteran retreat. So this is how Kay's Carry On came about.
Mm-hmm.
And my health at that time was really, really poor, but I still went to the retreat. And I was dealing with this illness called mixed connective tissue disease.
Mm.
And it's lupus, scleroderma, and myositis. So I had actually I was weighing like close to 160 pounds, and I went down to 129.
Wow. Mm.
So I was like this size of probably a freshman, sophomore in high school.
Yes. Oh.
And so I went to this retreat regardless of how I felt, and they treated us like queens while we were there. They fed us well.
Yes.
And they gave us many resources in regards to even allowing us to have a counselor while we were there. And we were there for like 6 days.
Okay.
And so I went to go see this one counselor. On day 3, I'm talking with her, I didn't even know what we were going to talk about actually, but we got on the conversation of my childhood, and I just remember it being so tearful and I don't even know how the woman even understood what I was saying, really,
Yes.
because when you're that overwhelmed with grief, you bring back all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
your memories, and then we got to a calm part of the conversation, and I was able to um, have good conversation, and then we talked about my items being placed in trash bags
Mm.
and all that kind of stuff, and how
Yes.
I always felt inadequate
Mm-hmm.
and just not of anyone of importance. Um, and then this idea came to me as I
Mm-hmm.
was speaking to her about, and I honestly believe it was the Lord speaking to me because
Yes.
it was all about making sure that foster children had rolling luggage, which means I don't take suitcases.
Yes.
I take rolling luggage,
Yes.
new rolling luggage, and just making sure that even a 3-year-old would be able to pull their own piece of luggage.
Oh.
And I tell
Yes.
you, I was so
Yes.
excited
Oh.
when I stepped out of that counselor's office. I
Yes.
just went right on back to my room and talked to. I even went online to see like who else is doing this. I want to know like can I connect with them
Yes.
and so that's how Kay's Carry On came about, and it was just
Yes.
about giving foster children dignity, hope, and respect.
Yes.
Because none of us, when you think about it, would ever go to a train station, a bus station, an airplane. We would not go there. We would be embarrassed to walk in with a trash bag and say, "Can you check
Yes.
this in for me?"
Yes.
And the person who's working behind the desk is going like, "Are they for real?" And so we have to literally look at it in the eyes of what how other people would see it as well. And
Yes.
so that's why I believe that the Lord wanted for me to take on this assignment. And then initially it started out as empty luggage, but then I was blessed to start getting Bibles because
Yes.
since I didn't grow up knowing Christ,
Yeah.
I wanted for the children to at least have a Bible, blanket, and some other things that can be put on the inside.
Yes. And see, that's phenomenal just to, really pay it forward to the need that is continuous for our situations, and the youth that's coming up now, going through that, and that how God gave you that. Really, that unction to just be the change you want to see. Listeners, I've mentioned several times how a lot of times we maybe sit around waiting on governments or local politicians, or people who we feel may have a title or whatnot to do some things, but a lot of times they don't. And we may become disappointed, and I've come to revelation that a lot of times we're the changes we want to see. And Miss Kay is being the change she want to see, and I'm 1,000% on board with Kay's Carry On, because it's a continuous need. Hopefully I can pair you, Miss K, with here in South Carolina we have the Foster Parent Association, and I would love to connect you with them. They have similar to your case carry-ons, but people will bring the bags, but you have the bags, you have the stuff, possibly a partnership with them where they basically help pre-pack a certain bag, whether the child is about to go to college, whether they need something for school. So I would love to just connect you with that, with because that's you're already doing phenomenal. I like here on your site, all of your scriptures are speaking to this truth, but especially the Psalm 10:14, the New International Version. But you, God, see the trouble of the afflicted. You consider their grief and take it in hand. The victims commit themselves to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. And that's what you're doing, paying it forward, paying it back. And so we just want to celebrate you, Miss K, right here on the website. Listeners, you can scroll with me. That's Miss K right here. Feel free to also go to her website is right here, kayscarryon.com, and just support her efforts, share her efforts. We see that you have projects right here as well. I'm kind of just going through your site right now, Miss K.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yes, you had summertime fun, carry on. phenomenal, phenomenal. We just see these baskets, these products. And listeners, if you want to get involved with this, is a true ministry. If you want to get involved supporting Miss K, donating to Miss K, partnering with Miss K, feel free to come on to kayscarryon.com. Um, but then also support her in her other endeavors. She's also an author of a phenomenal book that is now number one, really bestseller on Amazon, called "The Faces of Foster Care." I'm about to switch over to that screen right now, viewers, for you to see that. Um, but let's see. Give me one moment. We just want to celebrate you, Miss K. And so I'm sharing your tab right now. So yes, listeners, right now, Amazon.com, The Faces of Foster Care is pulling up right now. The link is in the description of this video, so feel free. Anything spoken about today, you could go and view Miss Kay's Facebook page. You could view her Kay's Carry On link. You could also view here her Amazon, The Faces of Foster Care, Volume 1. This is a movement. It's already come out July 31st, but she is progressing. That train is rolling, and it's here on Amazon.com. You get it via Kindle and paperback. Please go support her efforts, because people are telling their stories. People are wanting, really, you, the listeners, to know that, you know what, even if you come from foster adoption, orphan, marginalized, or whatever your testimony, you may not have come from that background. We want to encourage you that you have a testimony, you have a story. And so, just by Miss K making sure that each child has their own carry on with a blanket, with a Bible, is really helping them, whether they realize that or not, begin to tell their story. I like to say that um, really your past, your upbringing, your everything, your perseverance is what creates your story. And so Miss K, you've persevered and you're continuing to persevere, because Miss K, and I'm celebrating with her. I'm so humble and thankful to even be included in the number. Miss K is about to publish volume 2 of the Faces of Foster Care anthology, and yours truly is one of the contributing authors. But there's other phenomenal authors who have contributed to volume 1, and they're carrying on. Contributing to volume 2. We have Miss Cheryl Williams, who's a close friend. She's the one who introduced me to Miss Kay Kizer's efforts. I'm so grateful for her. Cheryl Williams is Miss Southwest 2022, and she is a contributing author of volume 1, and she's doing phenomenal just things, along with Mr. Danny Van. He's coming up in volume 2. He's a close friend. I'm super excited to see Desiree Parker, along with Miss Dusty Stark, who I interviewed last year sometime. I'm super excited to see these phenomenal individuals come and really just share their stories. And there won't be it. There's others coming forth. I can't wait for y'all to meet Miss Ruth Horry, who's coming up on the podcast later on this month. She's gonna be a contributing author, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited. Listeners, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the link of this video. And if you don't have anything right now, feel free to, on the replay, to post your questions, and we'll make sure Miss K gets them. Feel free to connect with her and her efforts on Kay's Carries On, and her Amazon, The Faces of Foster Care, and support her for the upcoming release, the launch of volume 2, coming August. Sorry, not August. We passed August, right? So I'm like, look, or a Thanksgiving gift for someone, to let them know that, you know what, your story can also be told, and Miss K is going to help you do it. And we also want to celebrate Miss K, uh, the phenomenal leader that's helping you put all this together. Can you name the leader you're connected to that's helping you put these books together? Because
Yes, I definitely want to give honor where honor is due. Her name is Cindy Rogers,
yes,
Cindy Ann Rogers, and you will find her also on Facebook. It may be under her actual name.
okay,
I know her publishing company is called Raised Bridges, and it's
okay,
spelled just like what it sounds, Raised, and then Bridges, which
Okay.
is what we cross. But she's the one that I had asked her about, a anthology for individuals who experienced foster care, just gathering up all their stories, putting it in one book. And she was in agreement. She said, like, let's do it. And so that's why we have a volume one, because she was willing to accept our stories and get them out there and get them published. And now they're on Amazon where people can see them, and you can purchase even an ebook on Amazon, or you can actually order the hard copy. And something that I wanted to play real quick too, something that you had mentioned earlier about what you've seen on the website, which you can order the book from that website as well, which is www.kayscarryon.org. There was a lady in the
Uh-huh, go.
Woodlands,
Yes.
Texas, and she wanted to do something fun and different for Kay's Carry On. And so she actually orchestrated a packing party.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
It was so fun.
yeah.
We had snacks. We had all the items right there. That we had like our little piles, and we would kind of
Oh,
do an assembly line, or it was just so fun. Put it in crayons and coloring books, and
oh,
you name it, we put it in those pieces of luggage. And what fun she had was she ordered all these items
wow.
from Amazon.
Yes.
And she said every day she came home from running her errands, there'd always be a stack of Amazon boxes at her front door,
Wow.
because people would, contribute. They would pay, for them to purchase so many items. And then we would just gather at somebody's house and we would do packing parties. So I
Yes.
think it would be fun to just go around the United States, just
Oh,
do packing parties.
that you know what, that actually sounds amazing, Miss K. And while you were talking, you took me back. That example took me back 2 years ago. I had the honor really to be able to volunteer. A gentleman who also used to be in the system. Basically, he rented out a room at the local children's museum, and basically filled it up with just clothes, food, toys, and everything. And anyway, children that come from these different situations got to come in with their families and just get a bag and just load up. But to actually have not a bag, not a grocery bag, not a trash bag, but to get a room, especially maybe for the holidays, I probably would love to get together with you on that, for and pack up that stuff for like for Christmas, or for the new year, and then for back to school. Well, hey, listeners, we can help make that happen for Miss K, because once again, this K's carry on is a continuous need, and hopefully, by the grace of God, and He knows, He foresees everything, but hopefully, by the grace of God, we can make this movement from state to state to state. This effort, just like with the Faces of Foster Care anthology. Miss K knows how I feel. I'm like a little kid. I would love for us to be able to go from state to state, going on stage, as a group of authors, encouraging the masses, the multitude. Yes, letting others know in those situations that they don't have to stay defeated or feel as if that's the end of their life because they went through these situations. I know there's many of you out there who are ashamed and embarrassed by what you've gone through, but we want to hopefully give you a voice or peace of mind to know that you could progress and you still have a purpose and a testimony. Miss K, I'm so thankful that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to really be here on Foster My Stories. Before we go, because you've given so much just knowledge and wealth of knowledge, what lasting words do you want to give? Well, before that, before you give those words of wisdom to anyone, what what project do you have any projects? And I kind of talked briefly about the books coming up, but anything you want to share? You have any upcoming projects, any books, endeavors? And I'm all back on your website. I see now the book that you was talking about with Miss Cindy Rogers, Unexpected Blessings, Forgiveness. So yes, if listeners also go check that book out as well. Anything coming up as well, Miss K?
Well, I know that we, as a group, me personally, and me as and us as a group, we're actually looking for more authors. I just want to put that out there.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Everyone has a story, and why not share it with the world? You
Yes.
know, I think about how many people have passed away, and
Mm.
maybe they thought about
Yeah.
writing a book
Yep.
or even writing something to leave it as a legacy for your family. That's to me is what's really important because
Yes.
even with my biological mom and my biological dad, I did eventually meet them. If it would have been really nice if they would have left a story for me,
Yes.
so I would have known, like what they went through as children or what they experienced. So
Yeah.
I just want to encourage the listeners to think about writing your story. And even Cindy Rogers, I'm quite sure she would love to have your stories as well, especially if your life did not was not touched by foster care. But those that have had their lives touched by foster care, we want you. You know how the military, they point a finger at you.
Yes. We want you as a new recruit.
We want you. Okay? We want you.
Yes.
We need your stories. Your families, your personal family needs your story.
Yes.
And so consider writing with us and
Yes.
reaching out, even on Facebook, to say, yes, I want to write my story. I just want to welcome you to that for
Yes.
sure.
That'd be
November
amazing.
1st, November 1st, I am blessed to be on a radio, it's either radio television station talking
Yes.
about the books, The
Yay.
Faces of Foster Care. And I'm actually going to travel up to St. Louis and be in their studio and just speak about what the Lord would have me to talk about. And
Yes.
that is Military Appreciation Month. And with me being in the Army, that was so exciting. Like, oh my goodness. Yes,
Yes.
I'll do that.
See
So,
that's awesome.
graduating on the 22nd of October as a chaplain. And then I'm going to start working on my
Yay.
doctorate degree in counseling because being a chaplain, I actually can officiate weddings. And so that counseling, that doctorate degree is really going to help me to know how to minister to and counsel those who are preparing to get married, for them to really understand what they're doing, especially since I entered into a marriage and I did not even know what I was doing. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is like my give back,
Yes.
giving back to those who are preparing to get married.
Miss K, I mean, I'm just so thankful to hear really your testimony, and you're celebrating all around. October's your birthday month, and also, you are just doing phenomenal things. Birthday month, you say November, you'll be able to on the day of the launch of the volume 2,
That's
you're
right.
going to be in a studio. I might stow away, so don't be surprised if you see me over there. Also and then also November's Veterans Month, as well as Adoption Month, National Adoption
Yes,
Month.
it is
Miss K,
National Adoption Month.
yes, you said earlier on, and I want to make sure I say this right. Did you say you're also an adoptive parent?
I am, yes, my
Uh,
21-year-old. Yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome, Miss K. Basically, you just painted for it all around. And congratulations to you. You're celebrating not only your birthday this month, but also you're getting ordained, or you just really being elevated, really elevated to just continue to do the dynamic works that you're doing. Once again, Miss K, thank you so much for being here on the Foster My Stories podcast. Any lasting words before we go?
I'm just so something that I want for each and every author, and even our oncoming authors, is for the Lord to utilize us in conferences or
Yes.
retreats or whatever it is, a meet and greet. It doesn't matter. Whatever He wants done, that's what I want for us.
Yes.
And so for those listeners who say, you know what, we would love for you to come and speak at our upcoming event. You know what,
Yes.
we'll be there. Just reach out to us
Yes.
because I feel like we all have a wealth of knowledge because we've already went through this
Yes.
and we know how we can help others.
Yes.
So um, please don't be shy. Just reach out to us and we'll make it happen.
Yes, and Joanne Freeman, thank you so much for your input on the live as well. I see you there as well, and then also listeners or whatnot. Feel free. This information is going to be on the replay, so if you miss any part of it, no worries. This will be on a replay. Feel free to watch it, share it with others you know, and just really help me celebrate Miss Kay Kizer, my guest today. Once again, veteran, Army veteran, author, minister, really all around leader, doing phenomenal things, adoptive foster parent, and author that's really helping others like myself really bring their stories to life. Um, Thank you again, Miss Kay, just for your time today. Listeners, thank you for your time today as well. Share this content. Once again, you can reach out to Miss Kay on her website, kayscarryon.com. Feel free to go there, support her. Her contact's there. You could leave her a message or go to the socials as well. That's KayKizer right here, and I'm sharing it right now so you can see it here as well. And go show her some love. Go show her some love. Go check out that volume one on Amazon. I'm sharing that right now too. That link is in the description. Go support that, and then also I'm celebrating with her because volume two, November 1st, launching, and we just want to celebrate all around. All right. Well, if you've enjoyed Miss Kay Kizer, her testimony, if you feel this information has been a benefit to you, or you feel someone else can benefit from this information, please, please, please share this content, rewatch this content. Just share it with someone just to put a smile on their face and just give them encouragement to know that their past doesn't define their future. And so that's what we wanted to really present here today. Words of wisdom from Ms. Kay Kizer. I'm Shalene Michelle Tate, MBA, host of this Foster My Stories podcast, also the Inspire You segment. We're both asking you to just really take care and remember, as always, being fostered, adopted, orphaned, or underserved simply means you're gracefully chosen. MBA, Miss Kay, thank you for being my guest here today.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome, Miss Kay. Thank you.